Shalom, shalom to the elect. Before I get started, let me give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rokar Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to the brothers that are preaching the truth in the four winds of the earth. May Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, have mercy upon you. Alright, I've been holding this here, actually, I don't know, a day or two or so. But, and what reminded me to go into it, I seen Apostle Tahar video that he lamb back off of Brother Malcolm out in Chicago. So I said, I'm going to put this together here and do it. This is the House Resolution A dash, you know what, let's go to it right here. I've actually pulled it up. This is A dash 80 dash L48, right? 80th session agenda item 119. I actually pulled the thing up, General Assembly. Now I got the date on here, right? March 17th of 2026. Right? And here's the nations. All of the nations. Algeria, Angola, Barbados, Belarus, Benin, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cabo Verde, Cameroon, Central African Republic, and the list goes on and on and on. Let me skip down for a little. Let me see something here. Kenya, Lesotho, Libya, Libya, Madagascar, I don't know, y'all, Scar, and Mali and Malawi, Rwanda, and it goes on. Argentina, United Republican of Tanzania, Venezuela, Bolivarian, Bolivar, I don't know, y'all. Anyway, you see it right here, right? And it says what? A declaration of what? Of trafficking. What they trafficking, y'all? Trafficking of what? Enslaved Africans and racialized chatter enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. They talk about the so-called black people that was brought over here to the shores of America from what? From the west coast of Africa. Right? In the General Assembly, I'm not going to read all, I'm just going to skim through it. The General Assembly recalling the aim, purpose, and principles of Charter of the United Nations, reaffirming the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which proclaimed that no one shall be held in slavery or servitude, and that slavery in the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. Now he goes further and say, reaffirming the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which proclaim that no one shall be held in slavery or servitude, and that slavery in the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. What the hell? Ain't this about 500 years too late? And for you Negroes that jumping up and down thinking you're going to get some reparation from these devils, wait again. DJ Trump is not finna give you all anything, because U.S., Israel, and Argentina, they voted against it. Right? All other nations affirmed it. Understand. Let's skip through a little bit here. And let's see something right here. Underlining in what? Its resolution of 68-237 of the what? 20 of 23rd December of 2013, by which it proclaimed the first international decade for what? For people of African descent, and iterated that all human beings are born free and equal in what? How the hell you free? You still ain't free. Still not free over here, huh? They doing all this and for what? For what? You can't. You should be able. You should be able to. I should be able to leave America. If I want to go to Africa, go to Africa. I should be able to leave America. If I want to go to Russia, I should be able to go to Russia. Why? Say we free. So why we need a passport? Ain't shit. Come on, man, y'all. Human beings are what are born free and equal in dignity and in rights, and have the potential to what? To contribute constructive to the development and well-being of their societies, and what? In that any doctrine of racial superiority is what? Significant, false, morally condemnable, socially unjust, and what? And dangerous, and must be rejected, together with what? With theories that attempt to what? Anyway, so y'all see it, right? Y'all see it. But let's go back over here. This is what I'm gonna do here. Let's go back here what you see in the beginning, right? Because the United States, hold up, let me see something. I Googled it. Hold up, I Googled it on here. Wait a minute. Hold up. Do it on the phone. I was trying to hold on to some other stuff and trying to pull this up, trying to pull that up. Let's see something here. I'm reading on my phone now. It say reparations are actions including financial compensation, apologies, and policy reform designed to what? To acknowledge and repair injuries from injustice like slavery, colonialism, and systemic, right, racism. In the U.S., the movement seeks to address the lasting economic, social, and what? Political disadvantage stemming from slavery and Jim Crow through what? Initiatives like cash payments, dream on, land grants, dream on, house assistance, dream on, and educational scholarship for what? For descendants, dream on. Why don't you just start with the 40 acres and a mule? I'll take that. You ain't got to give me no money. Give me the 40 acres and a mule. Current status of what? Of reparation in the United States, local action, municipalities, and what? And states are what? Are leading with what? Exploratory committee formed in some local program, such as in what? In Illinois, in Vanston, Illinois, never been there. Starting to what? To provide cash payment to black residents. Really, man? Y'all believe that, y'all? Do y'all believe that? National debate. The federal government has not implemented. Here we go. A national reparation program, but there are ongoing congressional proposal and what? And discussion surrounding the what? The 119th Congress H.R. 414 that recognize a legal obligation to provide reparation. Legal challenges are what? Are mounted against race-based initiatives with opponents arguing they constitute unconstitutional spars that divide cities according to the what? The it goes on and on and on. Let me show you something. Let's jump back over here right quick to the document here, right? Let's get to the page 7. Let's see something here. Okay, recognizing this page. I don't know what page it is. 3. I think it is. Recognizing that Africans and people of African descent have continuously resisted, contested, and litigated the crimes of slavery and slave trade from their inception, including through the more than 6th century African abolitionist tradition, early acts of resistance and testimony. This shit's small, man. State diplomacy, armed struggles in the strategic use of cord. That's not what I want. Let me see. Taking note of the progressive codification, the racial chattel enslavement of Africans across the world, including the pepper. That's not what I wanted either. I know I seen it somewhere. Hold up, request the Secretary. This is what I want. Request the Secretary General in coordination with the United Nations system, including the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, and the Office of United Nations High Commission for Human Rights, to strengthen coordination or remembrance, education, research, and capacity building related to trafficking and slave. Just a bunch of hoopla. Y'all. That's all this is. Nothing special about this house or resolution. You're not finna get anything, man. But let me show you something here, right? Let me show you that they are definitely right concerning the house, well, concerning the transatlantic slave was the worst atrocity in human history. Huh? In human history. You hear me? What's that precept? Daniel. Y'all bear with me right quick, right? Let's go to Daniel. Daniel 9. Daniel 9 and verse 9 and 12. And he has confirmed his words. What words? He has confirmed, the Lord has confirmed his words against what? The Israelites. Right? Which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. What was that great evil? Deuteronomy 28. The curses. Right? For under the whole heaven has not been done as has been done, what? Upon Jerusalem. Because Jerusalem is a people before a place. Right? That land does not make the people in the land the people. What make the people, what make the land upon Jerusalem, which is what? The people. The people. The true people of God, or the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Right? Now let's get into this right here, right? Check this out. This is 24, this is just 24 of them now. 24 banned punishments of slavery. So bizarre, you'll think they're fake history, facts, slavery. Check this out. Let's roll it back a little bit.
People in the United States were legalized in written code, defended in courts, and practiced with total impunity for 2 entire centuries. Forget what school textbooks told you. The reality was...
Look at this shit, man. Look at this. That's a young boy there. Look at him. You tell me devils don't need to be... Let me slide it over a little bit. Hold up. You're like a teenager. I ain't through.
And practiced with total impunity for 2 entire centuries. Forget what school textbooks told you. The reality was built with branding irons, rope, and forced silence. Here are the 14 most brutal punishments of American slavery. Punishment number 1, the forced treadmill. Labor that served no purpose beyond deliberate suffering. Enslaved people were forced to walk continuously on a mechanical treadmill powered by the weight of their own bodies. It did not grind grain, it did not move water, it served no productive function whatsoever. It was pure punishment, designed to exhaust and humiliate at the same time. The pace was controlled from the outside, the pain from within. The pace of the treadmill was regulated externally by the torturer, not by the legs of the victim. Any stumble sent the shins and ankles crashing against the steps in constant
Damn.
We will get you 1 million views or you don't pay. And if you give me 50...
That way, man. Shit.
rotation. The wounds opened. The process started again. There was no pause to heal. The treadmill restarted the next day with the same injured legs, the same weight, the same relentless rhythm that did not accept hesitation as an answer. The forced treadmill was not improvised. It was technology imported from 19th century British prisons that arrived at American plantations as a refined instrument of control. Owners who wanted to punish without leaving visible marks on the back found in the treadmill an elegant solution. The body destroyed itself from the inside, slowly, far from the eyes of anyone who was not supposed to see what was happening. In British prisons, the stepping mill required up to 8 hours of forced walking per day, the equivalent of climbing over 10,000 feet of altitude in a single day. For enslaved people on plantations, the duration was determined by the anger of the master, not by any written regulation. The difference between 1 day and 2 days on the
Look at Eve right there, y'all. Huh? 1, 2, that's 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Them all black women right there. But now, y'all, you were forced to be bed wenches, but now, y'all just, whoo, it is what it is.
treadmill could mean the difference between walking normally and never walking correctly again. The worst detail about the treadmill: nobody needed to strike a blow to apply this punishment. The torturer stood to the side, watching calmly. The enslaved person's own body performed the work of destruction, hour after hour, until the legs simply would not obey anymore. That was the most calculated cruelty of...
Look, they standing here and got Jake beating Jake. Look, got Jake right here beating Jake. All of them. They standing watching as we would torture one another.
Of all. It turned the victim into their own executioner. The system could not have been more efficient. Punishment number 2.
The victim into their own execution, just like I just said.
The iron contraptions. An industry built specifically to torture human beings. Blacksmiths on plantations and manufacturers in the North developed a complete catalog of devices designed to cause pain without killing, at least not immediately. The creativity invested in these devices was inversely proportional to the...
Look at this shit, man. We don't want your reparation, man. I know I don't. Any fool trying to seek reparation, we want what? We want the earth. Because the scriptures speak about what? In Numbers 35 and 33, so ye shall what? Shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shedded it.
The humanity of those who ordered and promptly paid for them. Spiked collars were among the most common devices in the American South. An iron ring with inward-facing spikes fastened around the neck, not tight enough to...
There you go, Eve. I see Eve now. Wearing he putting some not actual steel collar on or wood or whatever. I see her putting collars on with the Edomites right now. Dominating them in the bed and doing what? But can't dominate them physically, but dominate them what? By putting them what? Treating them like animals. And some of these Eves is actually doing this shit, man.
To suffocate, but positioned to prevent any comfortable rest. The enslaved person could not lie down without the spikes piercing the skin. Weeks wearing one of these guaranteed sleepless nights and raw flesh below the jawline. There were also forced posture structures, wooden and iron frames that locked the body at painful angles for hours or consecutive days. The wrists could be fixed above the head, the knees bent and tied, the ankles secured to stakes in the ground. Doctors of the era documented permanent joint damage after prolonged periods. This was not negligence. It was the stated objective. Excessive weight shackles completed the available arsenal. Chains with iron balls weighing between 9 and 18 pounds were fastened to the ankles of enslaved people who had attempted to flee. The weight turned every step into an additional and continuous punishment. Normal work continued. Picking cotton, cutting cane, with the iron dragging along the ground. The cruelty was in the detail. Life did not stop. 19th century records describe devices that progressively compressed the fingers. Gradual tightening screws used as improvised interrogation on plantations. Others cut off circulation at the wrists for hours. Surgeons hired by the plantations documented amputations that became necessary after prolonged use. The owner rarely faced consequences for the result. The enslaved person survived mutilated, when they survived at all. The market for punishment instruments operated openly and without shame. Shops in New Orleans, Charleston, and Savannah sold collars, shackles, and restraining structures like any common agricultural equipment. Illustrated catalogs arrived at plantations by mail with delivery timelines and manufacturer warranties. Torture at a listed price. It was business like any other, just with a lot more blood. Punishment number 3.
Just business, y'all. Just business. Just business.
The barrel of nails. And the testimony reached us because Moses Roper survived to write about what he lived through. Roper was born in 1815, the son of an enslaved woman and her own master, and spent his childhood being resold from plantation to plantation across South Carolina and Georgia. In 1838...
Hey.
Oh.
He published in London a narrative that described with precision the instruments used against him. The device was simple in construction and absolutely calculated in the horror it caused. Nails were hammered from the outside of a large barrel with the points facing inward. The enslaved person was shoved into the barrel. The lid was closed.
Look at that, man. Look at that. Huh? In the barrel. You can't lay down. I mean, you can't rest on one side of the barrel. You in the barrel, you can't even rest. Because if you rest and try to rest your head, you got what? Look at this shit, man. Straight torture, man.
Then the barrel was rolled downhill while the nails pierced the skin with every full rotation.
Roll downhill.
The speed controlled the intensity. The slope controlled the duration. What made this punishment particularly brutal was not just the pain, it was the audience forced to watch. Moses Roper described how the owner gathered other enslaved people to witness the ordeal. The message was explicit. Anyone could be next. The audience did not choose to be there, but carried the weight of what they had seen. The torture did not end when the barrel stopped. It continued in the nightmares of everyone. No doctor was called after the barrel. The puncture wounds were treated with salt to disinfect, they said. But the real effect was to prolong the agony for additional days. Roper described weeks of recovery after a single session. In the intervals, the work did not stop. The plantation did not wait. The body had to keep up with the pace of the harvest.
Let me pause for a minute, y'all. Let me pause for a minute. Habakkuk 2:12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. Let's go here. I'm going to come back there. I know y'all want to see it, but hey, patience. Y'all like to run. Y'all run like hell. Let's see something here. Let's go here. Okay, U.S., Israel, and Argentina vote against Ghana's UN resolution seeking justice and reparation for the transatlantic slave trade. Let me read over here. I'm over here reading, y'all. Can't see. I'm reading over here, y'all. U.S., Israel, and Argentina vote against Ghana's UN resolution to recognize the slave trade as the biggest crime against humanity. They oppose the motion which called for what? Reparations and justice for the transatlantic slave trade. The U.S. said it condemns slavery but does not support legal claims for reparations. That's your country, y'all. You already want to run. You people want to run down there and vote, huh? Republican or Democrat. This is your country, right? While not legally binding, the resolution carries strong moral weight and highlights what? The global call for what? Recognition of what? Historic injustice. Let's go through this one right here. What other one there? Right here. U.S. rejects UN vote to recognize slavery as the greatest crime against humanity. Don't we agree? Just with the few 3 to 4 madness, we call it madness, that I just showed you all, that within itself is enough, man. You talking about torture? That's some hell of a, Only a person that got a real sick and horrible mind would think of some shit like that. But we ain't through. Let me read this here. I'm over here now. The UN General Assembly voted to declare the African slave. I'm just got different uh, what do you call it? What social media things I'm reading. They mainly the same thing, but hey, some is worded a little better, a little different, right? The UN General Assembly voted to declare the African slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity and advocate for reparations, while the U.S., Argentina, and Israel voted against the resolution. But y'all running over there now, fighting a war for Israel. You so-called black people. Ain't no way in hell. You black, so-called black people running over there fighting in a war that ain't got nothing to do with you anyway. It further reads, led by John Dramani Mahama, president of the Republican of Ghana, the vote took place on the International Day of Remembrance of the victims of slavery in transatlantic slave trade. The approval of the resolution will require UN member nation to discuss steps to eradicate systematic racism, ensure reparation justice, and accelerate inclusive development with equal access to education, health, employment, housing in a safe environment. What are they going to do that at, y'all? Y'all tell me what they going to do that at. Let me give me one more video, one more precept, and I'm going to go back to these videos here, right? Exodus 21 and verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. That's true reparations there, y'all. Y'all want these dead presidents, man. I don't want dead presidents. Because dead presidents is what? They don't be no good anyway in a minute. They already took the nickels and the dimes away. They're going to take the pennies and the nickels. Right? Y'all know that, right? A lot of y'all don't even know that. What's next? Hey, y'all know it's going to be, soon they're going to be the dimes, probably the next 4 months or so, then the quarters, and then the dollars. Especially when the Strait of Hormuz, they charged them both $2 million. And it's 3,200. It's 3,200 or better ships got to come through. Man, they finna make billions, huh? Just that quick. Y'all should let them folks alone. Let's go back over here.
Or not, with or without actual physical capability. The narrative of Moses Roper was published with the support of British abolitionists and became a fundamental document of the anti-slavery movement in the United Kingdom. He described at least 5 methods of torture suffered on different plantations in the American South. Each account was accompanied by a note from the editors, verified and confirmed by witnesses present. The cruelty had a record. The impunity did too. What Roper's records reveal with clarity is that there was no standardized system for these devices. There was unlimited and entirely unpunished individual creativity. Each owner developed their own personal preferences. The barrel of nails was not universal. It was the particular invention of one specific man. What was common to all of them was only the absolute impunity. Anything was possible. Nothing was forbidden. Punishment number 4, forced starvation. Depriving food was a punishment as common as the whip in the American South. The daily ration of an adult enslaved person was calculated at the biological minimum, about 1 pound of...
And that remind me, y'all, what you just said, food, right? Check this out right here. Check this out right here, right? This is Putin right here. Let me see can I get it right quick. I hope I can. Let me see something. Damn, y'all, hold up, let me see something. Come on, baby. Come in, go in right now. God damn it. I done messed it up. God damn it. Anyway, in other words, let's go back over here. I done screwed it up, y'all. I thought I had to. I didn't lock it in. But what it was is that, damn, Putin, China, Russia, and someone else, they all agreed that food was a necessity that's is a human rights. That's what it was. That's what it's all about. I might put. I don't know if I can get it again or not. I'm thinking I put it up on my other phone over here.
Cornmeal and a piece of salt meat per week. When punishing through hunger, the owner simply cut that off without warning, without a set deadline. The enslaved person worked the same amount on an empty stomach until the master decided the lesson had been learned. Hunger as punishment had a practical advantage for owners. It left no visible mark. Solomon Northup described in 12 Years of Slave Weeks, in which he received only water and raw corn after disobeying an order. The body stayed on its feet. The work kept getting done. From the outside, nothing indicated what was happening. That was exactly what made the method so appealing for those who needed to maintain the appearance of acceptable treatment. Enslaved children suffered disproportionately. On plantations in Georgia and South Carolina, records from the era show that children under 12 received half the ration of adults under normal conditions. As punishment, that ration was cut in half again. Some children stole scraps of animal food because they could not endure the hunger. When they were caught, the punishment became more severe, creating a cycle with no way out. Food deprivation was also used as a tool of collective control. If one enslaved person fled or resisted, the entire quarters could have their rations cut for days. The logic was deliberate, to turn the companions themselves into monitors of each other's behavior. Frederick Douglass described the psychological weight of knowing that any act of personal...
Here it is right here, right? I just pulled it up, right? Concerning Putin, what I was saying earlier, right? I had it. Vladimir Putin, I'm going to read it, right? It said, Vladimir Putin has framed food securities as a key national interest. You know, remember how they was starving the people there in Gaza? And wasn't letting the food go through, just starving them out. Vladimir Putin has framed food security as a key national interest, often accusing Western sanctions of causing global shortage while presenting Russia as a responsible supplier. He has pledged to replace Ukrainian grain export with Russian supply to needy countries, and has criticized the West for directing Black Sea grain away from what? Developing nations. Why? Because they want to feed you lab food. These people are wicked as hell, man. Key points regarding Putin's stance on food as human rights and security issues include weaponized food accusation. While Russia has been accused of using food as a weapon, right, by blocking Ukrainian exports, Putin has argued that Western sanctions on fertilizers and finance are responsible for hindering Russia's export and raising global prices. So you see how hypocritical these devils are? When America was allowing Israel to starving them people, man, over there in Gaza, man. Hey, man, boy, I tell you, the devil always, boy, I tell you. Woo! Silent weapon policy. Russia has strategically increased its agriculture export while Ukrainians have decreased. The officials describing food as a silent weapon in the ongoing conflict. So there they go, that's what they do. They try to call out the wickedness that they're doing and turn around and blame it on you. Sound like a woman.
Resistance would result in hunger for everyone around him. Individual punishment became group pressure. The period between Christmas and New Year was the only rest guaranteed by custom. Owners distributed extra food on those days as a gesture of control, not generosity. When an enslaved person committed a serious offense during that period, losing the Christmas food was punishment calculated to humiliate in the deepest possible way.
It's illegal to drive without car insurance.
Yeah, man, y'all need to see this here. Don't go no damn well. You need to see this here. for you all that what love your enemy so damn much.
Northup described grown men crying not from physical pain, but from watching their children go without food on the only days when they had promised it would be different. The physical effects were documented by the plantation doctors themselves, hired by the owners. Records from Mississippi in the 1840s describe enslaved people with clear signs of chronic malnutrition, inflamed gums, impaired vision, swollen extremities. The doctors recommended nutritional replenishment not out of compassion, but out of economic calculation. An enslaved person too weakened did not produce. The line between punishment and permanent incapacitation was managed like a spreadsheet. Punishment number 5, the smokehouse, documented by the formerly enslaved William W. Brown in his 1847 narrative. Brown escaped slavery in Missouri in 1834 and became one of the most important American abolitionists. What he described about the smokehouse was not rumor nor rhetorical exaggeration to move readers. It was direct memory with names and dates verifiable in plantation records. The operation was precise and deliberate. The enslaved person was tied inside a smokehouse, originally used to cure meats, and first whipped with the back laid open. Then the owner or overseer lit a fire of tobacco stalks on the floor. The dense, toxic smoke filled the enclosed space with no way out. The enslaved person inhaled concentrated smoke over open wounds, immobilized. Tobacco stalks produce specific and intense smoke, thick, rich in nicotine and irritating compounds, different from ordinary wood smoke. Inhaled by a body and...
These some wicked motherfuckers, man. These are some evil ass. Let's go right here. Let's get talking about the bed wenches now. Let's see something here.
Time, the North read it, voted for politicians who defended slavery, and continued doing business with the South. The information was available. The choice to ignore it was too. Punishment number 6, sexual abuse. The American slave system gave the owner total control over the body of the enslaved person. Total. That included what no school textbook named directly. Harriet Jacobs wrote in 1861 that Dr. Norcom began whispering obscenities in her ear when she was 13 years old. It was not an exception. It was the normal functioning of a system that treated people as property, with no legal boundary between what an owner could or could not do. The law did not protect. In no slaveholding American state did legislation exist that criminalized what an owner did to his enslaved people. None. What happened inside a plantation was legally invisible. Jacobs described years of trying to avoid Norcom without being able to turn to anyone. Not the police, not a judge, not a priest. Any formal complaint from an enslaved woman against her master was, in practice, impossible to be heard. For enslaved women, the threat was constant and calculated. Owners used vulnerability as a tool of control, not just over the victim, but over the...
Y'all still think that the transatlantic slave is not the worst atrocity in human history?
entire family. Jacobs documented how Norcom threatened to sell her children whenever she resisted. The child became a hostage. The mother became a prisoner not by chains, but by love. It was an architecture of control more sophisticated and crueler than any iron instrument. The children born from these situations created a moral problem that the American South resolved in brutal fashion. The law dictated that the child followed the condition of the mother, not the father. This meant that an owner could be the biological father of his own enslaved people without any legal consequence. Frederick Douglass suspected that his own father was his master. He wrote about it without certainty because the answer was never given to him. That silence was also part of the system. The women who resisted were punished with the whip, with sale, with separation from their children. Those who did not resist carried the weight of what had happened without being able to speak.
If
Harriet Jacobs spent 7 years hiding in a space barely over 3 feet high in her grandmother's attic to escape Norcom.
If that is true concerning Frederick Douglass, his slave master, one of his slave masters could be his father, then that would make what? Frederick Douglass a goddamn Edomite. Yeah, you are who your father is. You are who your father is. Numbers 1 and 18. Right? Zechariah 2 and verse 6. Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north. That's America, saith the Lord Yahweh. For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Lord Yahweh. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. That's America, y'all, the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, after the glory hath he sent unto the nations which spoiled you. Meaning that word goes into what? Enslaved you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. So the real reparation is coming real soon.
unable to move without natural light, hearing the voices of her children below without being able to touch them. 7 years. She considered that better than the alternative. It is estimated that hundreds of thousands of enslaved women were subjected to this system over the 2 centuries of American slavery. The real number will never be known because there was no record, no possible complaint, and no official word for what was happening. The narrative of Jacobs was published in 1861 and ignored for decades. Only in the 20th century did historians begin to treat her testimony as the historical document it always was. Punishment number 7, prolonged chaining. And the most extreme case documented in the United States did not come from a plantation in the rural interior, but from an elegant mansion in the heart of New Orleans. In April 1834, a fire on the 3rd floor revealed what Marie Delphine LaLaurie, a member of the city's Creole elite, preferred that no person ever find. The fire was not part of her plans. When the firefighters climbed to the 3rd floor of 1140 Royal Street, they found what the newspapers of the time described as scenes of horrible barbarity. Enslaved people were chained to the walls, some suspended by the neck with chains that prevented any resting position. Limbs stretched for days had developed permanent contractures. Some could barely move when they were rescued. Madame LaLaurie hosted New Orleans society at elegant parties, while the basement and 3rd floor functioned as active torture chambers. Politicians and doctors dined in the parlor, while enslaved people agonized above them. No neighbor had reported anything before the fire. The fire revealed what collective silence had been hiding. And that silence belonged to an entire elite that chose not to ask questions. Prolonged chaining causes specific and well-documented damage according to modern medicine. Chains on the wrists or ankles for periods exceeding 48 hours cause pressure injuries and severe circulatory disruption. Within weeks, the damage becomes permanent. Tissue necrosis, bone infection, definitive loss of limbs. The victims found in the LaLaurie mansion presented exactly these severe conditions. After the fire, a mob destroyed the mansion entirely. LaLaurie fled to France before she could be captured. No criminal case was successfully concluded in the courts. Louisiana law of 1834 prohibited cruel and inhumane treatment of enslaved people. But no effect.
Y'all still want your reparations, y'all? The only reparations we seek, the men of Yahweh Shem Yahweh, is the rulership of the world, of the earth. Which was what? Which was ours from what? From the beginning. 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 57. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lord over us, and to devour us. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sake, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? How long shall this endure? Until Yahweh Shem Yahweh shall come and save you. Nobody, no reparations is going to save your ass out of captivity, man. Right? I won't give a damn. Esau gave all y'all $10 million apiece. You could, most 90% you're gonna throw it away anyway. Right back into the economy. Right on back into the economy.
Effective sanction was applied to the most serious and public case in the state. The episode caused national outrage. The result was 0 convictions. Ordinary chaining, quite different from the extreme case of LaLaurie, was routine practice on plantations throughout the American South. Enslaved people considered runaways were chained to workstations during the day and to the floor of the quarters at night. The additional weight of the iron turned every task into doubled effort. The stated objective was security. The real effect was exhaustion and systematic degradation. Punishment number 8, the bell collar, a device that turned the enslaved person's own movement into permanent and continuous betrayal. The structure was a metal ring fixed around the neck with a wooden or iron frame rising above the shoulders and a bell attached at the top. Every step, every turn of the head, every deeper breath made the bell ring silent.
Look at this shit, y'all. Look at this here. Look at this. How can you comfort? There's no comfort. Sitting down, standing up, no comfort, man. Evil, just pure evil.
It became biologically impossible. The device was applied specifically to enslaved people considered prone to flight. Anyone who had attempted to escape at least once. The message was direct: you can try to run, but you you will announce every step along the way. The forest that once offered cover became an enemy. The silence of the night, an enemy. The bell turned any escape attempt into automatic and inevitable auditory suicide. It was impossible to silence the bell without external help from another person. It was impossible to remove it without specific tools and a second person assisting. The enslaved person carried the device during work, meals, and sleep. If sleep was even possible, with iron on the neck and metal ringing with every shift in position. The sleep deprivation caused by the collar was an effect accepted and even approved by owners. The bell collar appears in abolitionist engravings and in narratives of formerly enslaved people with sufficient frequency to confirm it.
Hey, if you shoot.
There you go, playing with his blessing. That's his blessing, y'all.
Confirm its widespread use throughout the South. It was not the invention of one specific region. It was technology shared and refined among owners from different states. Blacksmiths in different regions produced variations of the same device. Some models included 2 or 3 bells. The cruelest detail of the collar was not the weight, nor the constant physical discomfort. It was the permanent public humiliation. On any visit to town, at any market, in any encounter with other enslaved people, the bell announced...
This ain't been long ago now. For y'all be saying that what? That long time ago. You know, white folk love to push that forward, that narrative, and say it's been a while ago. This ain't been long ago.
To everyone, this man, this woman tried to flee and failed. The device was not just punishment, it was a public narrative told to anyone who had ears to hear. Punishment number 9, amputation. And the word must be said directly without euphemism of any kind. In cases of open resistance, physical confrontation, or repeated
amputation. See his hand gone? Every time they would. Hand, feet, another feet. Where you gonna run to now?
Escape attempts, owners ordered the removal of body parts as formal and deliberate punishment. It was not the result of violence in the heat of the moment. It was a premeditated decision, sometimes with a doctor present, sometimes without. It was administrative. The cutting of ears was among the most documented practices in the historical records of the American South. In courts of the 18th and 19th centuries, it appears as codified punishment for enslaved people who demonstrated repeated rebellious behavior. The ear was cut with a knife or scissors, the wound cauterized with a hot iron to prevent death from hemorrhage. The owner rarely faced any consequences for the act. It was within his rights. The amputation...
All right, man, let me go down a little more. Just to get some more of this harsh. I mean, hey, man, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So I'm gonna stop it right there, right? Because if you want to look at this here, go to History in Focus. History in Focus. 24 banned punishments of slavery, so bizarre you'll think they're fake. Historic facts of slavery, y'all. Like I said, the only reparation that we seek, the Israelites, the elect, we seek is what? Rulership of the earth, which was ours from the beginning, y'all. Let's go to Romans 8 and verse 16. The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of thy power. And if children, what? Then heirs of, read the verbatim, of God, and joint heirs with Christ, which is equally called Christ, which is Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. We suffering great just grievous. For what? For I reckon that the suffering, which is slavery, captivity, of this present time are not worthy to what? To be compared with what? The glory which shall be revealed in us, meaning the kingdom. So hold fast. For the honest expectation of the what? The creature, meaning the creation, waiteth for the what? The manifestation of the sons of God. We are what? We are the sons. What that is? No, it's 82 and 6. What is it? I can't. Got what book? I know it's 82 and 6, right? But anyway, for the creature, the Israelites, was made what? Subject to vanity, not willingly, but by what? By reason of him whom what has subjected the what? The same in hope. Because of the creature, the Israelites, itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the what? The glorious liberty of the children of God. So hold on, y'all. Hold on. For we know that the what? The whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have what? Have the first fruit. And the first fruit is who? The elect. What we tell you, man, stop thinking that the Lord is going to save all these wicked Negroes, man. Pants sagging asses, dope running, ass shaking ass out. The Lord is not saving you wicked jokers, man. First fruits, and you get that in 1 Corinthians 15:23, of the Spirit, even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting for what? The adoption. To wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope. Hope in who? In Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Hope. Not law. The law ain't going to save you during this time. Hope in the true and living God, man. Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Not no damn JC. But hope that is seen is not hope. That damn dead president that y'all trying to get, hoping that the so-called white man give you, they're not going to save your ass in these times that we're in. Which is what? Which is judgment of the earth. For what a man seeth, why doeth he what yet hope for? Huh? His filthy lucre, his money. We got a lot of you all going off just for what? His money. Sold out for what? For the devil and his money, man. But if we hope for that we see not, what? Which is the kingdom. Huh? Hope. That's what all our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, had hope what? That Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai was going to what? Save us out of the hands of our enemies, man. So we're in those times that what? That we're being ready, we're being what? We're being brought back to the remembrance of what? Of the world concerning who we truly are. It's been hidden for a long time. But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it? I'm going to stop there right there. All right? Should we wait for it? Or do I want to go? Let's see something here. No, let's go. Let's go back to, I didn't finish Zechariah, right? Damn, I didn't finish Zechariah. Let's go back to Zechariah right quick, right? Which is, what was I? In 2. No, yeah, 2. Zechariah 2 in verse, I stopped at verse 8. Real quick. For behold, I will shake my hand, on verse 9, upon them, and they shall be a spoil to what? To their servants. And ye shall know that the Lord Yahweh of hosts has sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, like the Israelites. For lo, I come, and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith the Lord of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, y'all. Read on, it's a good one right there. Last but least, no, I'm read on a little bit. And many nations shall be joined to the Lord in that day. That's why I didn't want to go to 11. Because that's confusion for a lot of you fools. Right? Yeah, I call you fool. Because anytime you thinking that what? That the other nations, that anytime somebody say many nations or all nations, you mean what? Try to say is what? It compared to what? The whole world. And many nations, read verse 11. And many nations shall be joined to the Lord Yahweh in that day. See there? Many nations. Go to Revelation 7 and 9. And they shall be My people. How are the other nations his people when the scripture clearly speaks about the what that is, Psalms 148. Psalm 148. Is it 148 or 149? 148. Psalm 148 and verse 9, 147 and 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgment unto Israel. He had not dealt so with any nation. And as for what? For his judgment, they have not known them. So many nations what shall be joined to the Lord Yahweh in that day, and shall be what? My people. Another quick one, right? Which is Hosea 1 in verse 10. Ye, the number of the children of Israel, shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass, which is what we in now, the future now, that in the place, what place? Of our captivity, where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God, man. Man, the truth goes on and on, man. Thou shalt know, back over here in Zechariah 2 and verse 11, finishing up, and thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto thee. Verse 12, and the Lord shall inherit Judah. Because Judah is that what? That pleasant plant. Which is what? Was first established. Because Hebrews 7 and 14, Yahweh Shai is out of what? The tribe of Judah. And the Lord Yahweh shall inherit Judah, his portion, in the Holy Land. And shall choose Jerusalem again. Because Jerusalem is a people before a place. It's not Jerusalem a people before a place? Of course it is. Be silent, O all flesh. Who is that? You heathens. Be silent, O all flesh, before the what? The Lord, Yahweh, for he is raised up out of his holy habitations. Last but least, Revelation, prove that. Revelations 11 and verse 11 and 2. Revelation 11 and 2. No, let's start at verse 1. And there was given me a reed. What reed? Meaning a standard. Stand fast or what? A firm, right? Like unto a rod. What rod? For what? For support. And the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple. What temple? That spiritual temple. Of thy power and the altar and them that worship therein. Verse 2, which is where I want to get. But the court which is without the what? The temple, leave out. What's that? That's the other nations. But the court which is without the temple, leave out, and measure it not. So you can't measure no heathens with what? The children of the Most High. Especially in the last days that we're in with what? With the elect. Madness. For it is given unto the Gentiles. So when that noble say, call Allah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rokah Kudash, Shalom. Keep your reparations.